manager by profession. I work at Wellbe Financial, and I've previously worked at HP for 5 years and Exxon for 2. I was laid off in end of May of 2020, which is when I really started paying attention to LinkedIn. I'd had LinkedIn prior to that for a very long time, but I never, it was just a profile sitting there. I never paid attention to it. I would log in once a month and I would hope for recruiters to find me. That didn't happen. So when I was in the middle of my job search, I decided to just really dig into it and just spent a few weeks learning everything I could about LinkedIn, um, and created a document with everything I learned so that others don't have to go through the same weeks long of worth of research that I had to go through. And so that's what we're going to walk through today. So why LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a professional social media platform with over 800 million users. And if you're here in this session, you probably know how important it is. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you're looking for a job, you're trying to contact managers in a different company, or you're waiting for recruiters to reach out to you. All that happens on LinkedIn. Top recruiters are 60% more active on LinkedIn than any other website, like Indeed and all those other websites. So super useful to be good at it, to get it right, and to give recruiters opportunity to reach out to you. Now, the good news is that only 1% of people on LinkedIn are active. Now, what I mean by active is that they have a profile that's set up properly, it's optimized, and they post content, they share content, they talk to people on there. Pretty much what we do on Facebook, but in a professional manner. And those are the 1%. So if you can get yourself close to there, you give yourself a really good shot at getting that job, because when the manager pulls up your profile, guess what? They see all your interactions. They see who you are. Now, when the questions were shared beforehand about some of the things that y'all are looking for, they were similar to what I was looking for, right? How do I tell my story on LinkedIn? How do I get a job through LinkedIn? How do I make it easy for recruiters to find me through LinkedIn? Because there's, like I said, 800 million people. So regardless of what your profession is, regardless of what you do, there's going to be tens of thousands of people with that same title, with similar experiences. So how do you stand apart? So we're going to start by going through the document that I was referring to. I'm not going to share the document itself that was previously shared. Sanya, if you can post the link again, that'd be great. Thank you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that the document in a separate screen, and I'm going to share the screen where I'll show you my LinkedIn profile, and I'll walk you through those different aspects. And then after that, we'll have maybe 1 or 2 lucky winners, depending on our time and how we're doing with Q&A, where I will go through their profiles and we'll do the same thing. Walk through it and see how you can improve it. And by the way, the reason why you see 2 of me is because I'm calling in from my iPad, but I have to share from my PC. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna start sharing. All right, let me know when you can see my screen.
We can see.
All right, perfect. Now, before I get started, I'm gonna tell you that before I actually dug into LinkedIn, my profile did not look like this, okay? It did not look this pretty. It was not this organized. It was not this professional. And so we'll go through the document from the top down. And the reason is because there's a lot of important things in there. So I'm gonna avoid jumping around. Now, if you already have LinkedIn, you're welcome to walk through it as I go through this. So the first thing you wanna do is click on the me icon and click on view profile. And this is where we're gonna change the majority of our settings. So first, we wanna make sure that our profile is visible to the public. Now, believe it or not, a lot of people unintentionally, maybe when they set up LinkedIn, they may have their profile set up to be private. That means only your connections can see you, or only those connected to your connections can see you. And you can see how that would limit what you're trying to do. If you're trying to find a job, you want everybody to be able to see you. So the way we check that is on the right side, you click on edit public profile in URL. And then you scroll all the way down. You have a lot of things on my profile. You will too by the time you're done with this. All the way towards the end, when I eventually get there. Give me 1 second.
Zahir, those are a lot of certifications.
Yeah, I like learning.
That's fabulous.
Okay, so I missed it. It's on the right side of the screen, right here. So you want to turn this on. That makes your profile visible. And then you want to scroll down and make sure that you have public selected. Public meaning anybody on or off LinkedIn can see your profile. So if you apply to a job and a recruiter wants to look you up, but they're not logged into LinkedIn, they'll still be able to see your profile, which is again, what you want. And then you want to scroll down and pretty much check everything over here, right? This is LinkedIn, this is your professional network. If it's something you don't want to share, you shouldn't have it on there to begin with. So everything you have on there, you should be happy sharing, right? That's how it's going to lead you to where you want to be. Once you do that, now you're visible to everybody. So when someone Googles you and you can try Googling yourself, it will pop up. Now, another thing to do on this page is create a custom URL. When you're applying for jobs on your resume, you want your resume to have a custom URL. So all of my resumes always say linkedin.com/in/ZahirP. That's so much better than the default one that LinkedIn gave me, which is something really long and I could never remember it. And it's not something anyone could easily go search for because there's so many characters that didn't make any sense. So customize it. Use your first name, first character for your last name, first name and last name combined. Try to keep it professional, just like your email that you'd use for job search, right? And avoid having too much fun with it. Leave it very simple. Okay. So that was public profile. And now we're going to talk about your contact information. Yeah.
Real quick, for those that may not know, to customize your the URL, you just click on that pencil next to it, and you will be able to like customize it right there. Yep. Thank you, Zahir.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you for jumping in. I'm familiar with LinkedIn, so I kind of tend to go through it pretty quickly sometimes. So definitely, if you have any questions, if you're gonna add anything, please jump in.
Bombarding speakers with questions. So we'll keep doing that. All right.
Sounds good. The second thing that I want to talk about is contact information. So when you go to your profile and you click on contact information, again, these screenshots are in the document that Sonia shared. This is where you'll have your email address. If you want your phone number, I don't like putting my phone number on there just because there's all sorts of people on LinkedIn besides professionals. I feel like if they need to reach me, they can email me and then we can connect that way. And that's my personal recommendation. You can add websites that are important to you. So Wellbe Financial, where I work, AKF USA, it's very important to me. I've participated in a lot of partnership walks. It's close to me, so I have it there as well. Address, leave it at city, because again, you don't know who's going to be on LinkedIn. Just like there's good recruiters on LinkedIn, there's also creeps on LinkedIn. So think about it that way. You don't want to share anything that you wouldn't want some random person who's a creep to have, right? And again, this is not something we would think about when we're setting the profile, because if you see address, you think address, right? Okay, I'm going to put in my address. But, we're mindful of that. On this page, you also see your customized URL. Again, much more cleaner, much more professional than the default one that you are assigned. Birthday, I recommend leaving it at month and date if you like, or not having anything there at all. There's a way you can hide it, and let me show you how to do that. I would avoid putting year on there, just because as much as I hate it, ageism is a real thing out there. So, it's not gonna help displaying your age, right? Regardless of how old you are. So I, again, clicked on the pencil icon. And over here, I have my birthday, and I have birthday visible to my network. So people that are not in my network cannot see my birthday. On my birthday, I do get a lot of messages on here, just like I do on Facebook. So I'm not gonna lie, it's nice. It's also a good way to reconnect, because people that I hadn't talked to in weeks or months or literally years, they will message me happy birthday, and then we'll check up on each other. And now guess what? We just strengthened the relationship, right? So if I'm looking for a job in a year or 2 years, I can reach out to them, and it's not like we hadn't talked for 5 years. We talked last year when they messaged me and wished me happy birthday. That's another selfish reason to have it there. Again, everything on LinkedIn is always a pencil icon. Now going down the list, background image. So this is the biggest real estate on your LinkedIn profile. Like literally, as soon as you open it, that's what you see. If you don't have something over there that is this pertinent to you, that represents you. So we talked about earlier, telling your story, right? Who you are, what's important to you. This is where it starts. Customize it however you want it, depending on what you're looking for, what you're trying to do, anything that's important to me. When I was looking for a job, I was mainly looking at project manager roles. And so this represents ideas plus processes bring you results. So you can look for other things that may be relevant. On the document, again, there's a website, pexels.com. There's another one, unsplash.com, pixabay.com. Those are all free resources where you can find something and then you can utilize it. Since it's a professional network, avoid just Googling something and grabbing it, just to avoid any issues. And this just makes it easier and more cleaner to do. And then for sizing or editing the size of the banner, you can go to canva.com. Again, that's what that website's also on there. Once you find an image that represents you, you can go to canva.com and then customize the image. I don't remember what the size is, but if you Google, LinkedIn header size, it will pop right up. Customize it to that size so it fits perfectly. It doesn't look too big, it doesn't look too small, and LinkedIn will take care of optimizing it based on the size of the browser. I'm looking at it on my iPad, I'm looking at it on a 30-inch screen, I'm looking at it on my laptop. They all look the same because I put in the correct size, so LinkedIn took care of resizing it everywhere. The way you edit that, again, pencil icon right there by the header. Just click on that and then you upload the image. Profile picture. Okay, this is surprisingly where most people get it wrong. And it's one of the easiest things to fix. So I have seen everything from Facebook-like pictures on here, to pictures of people having fun, which is great. But depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for a job, then you need to have a professional picture on there. If you don't have one, you can go to, for example, a JCPenney studio and get one taken over there, right? You don't have to hire a professional photographer and do all that. You can find a coupon for them too, and you can do that. But let's say you have a picture that you think looks really professional, but guess what? The background isn't clean. So my background in this picture was actually something completely different. On the same document, there's a website where you can go in. It's remove.bg. You can upload your picture on there, and then you can literally remove the background and you can change it to anything you want. So if you have something like my background, for example, this doesn't look professional. So I could upload it on there and I could literally make it all white. That's another way to do it. Regardless of how you go about it, it's a must. That's one of the first things people look at when they come to your profile. Let me jump back a little bit about job search. I have, during my 6 months of being laid off, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of recruiters and not only to look for a job, but also help others learn about LinkedIn. So a few of them became my friends. And what I learned was pretty shocking. A lot of them get bored looking at resumes. So guess what they do? They go to your LinkedIn. They don't even touch your resume. They just look at your LinkedIn and that's it. And that's how they choose whether they want to continue with you or not. Because looking at resumes all day is extremely boring. Trust me. Even when I look at my own resume for a couple hours trying to edit it, I get bored, I get sleepy. So can't even imagine what it must be looking at other people's resumes. So think of this as your second resume and put in as much effort as you would on your resume. Now, one question that was asked when you all did the registration is, how do I portray my resume on there? Now, we're going to talk about how to add descriptions to your jobs and what you've done so far. But before I forget, what you should not do is do not upload your resume to LinkedIn as a feature. So for example, down here, you can create posts and stuff. A lot of people that upload it over here and sort of have it up front. You don't want that. People are not on your LinkedIn to look at your resume. People are on your LinkedIn to look at your LinkedIn. We'll get to GIFs a little bit later. I'm a big fan of GIFs, by the way. But people on LinkedIn to know who you are. If they wanted the same boring, paper and pen, they would have just looked at your resume. They wouldn't be on your LinkedIn. So don't put your resume on there. What I've also kind of felt is it may also seem sort of desperate if you do. So you don't want to give up that white either, right? Probably should have started with this, but just a disclaimer, everything I say is my opinion. So it could be right or wrong, but it's been vetted a lot and a lot of recruiters tend to agree with me. So if I was me, I would listen to me. Now, we talked about the header. We talked about the profile picture. Now, what is the next thing that you see right after that? We got the header, profile picture, name, boom. You see the headline. Okay. Now, when I started playing around with LinkedIn, I made my headline super fun. Transformation, imagination. I didn't have that. What I really had was like global mindset, utilize data to improve processes, committed and passionate, all great things. But guess what? I was wrong. And here's how I learned that. I talked to a recruiter friend, asked him to look me up with certain parameters. He'll look me up. And I was about 150-ish out of tens of thousands of people because I was already using LinkedIn a lot. I changed my headline. And now suddenly I was the top 20 out of tens of thousands of people. So let me again say that one more time, right? It's not that I changed my headline and I became the top 20. No, I had my LinkedIn profile set up. I was extremely active on LinkedIn. So I was already number 150 when someone was looking for a project manager in Houston, Texas, which literally there's tens of thousands. It's crazy. And then I changed my headline to information technology project manager. Boom, suddenly I'm on top. So LinkedIn has its own AI and it utilizes its own backend to populate results. So when a recruiter is looking for a project manager, LinkedIn can't show them tens of thousands of people at the same time. So they have to figure out how to be smart on the back end and show the most relevant results. One of the key ways they do that is by looking at your title. Now, I am not looking for a job at this moment. That's why I have professional silver lining seeker. If I was, that would not be there. I would not waste that real estate because I think you get 100, I think 200 characters or something over there. I would not waste it with anything but job titles. So project manager, program manager, project lead, scrum master, target roles. These are roles that people would search for when they're looking for a candidate, or these are roles that you search for when you look for jobs online. You want to separate them by, I don't know what this little icon is called, but you want to separate it by this little icon. It just keeps it professional, it keeps it neat, and it just looks good. Any questions so far about the headline? Do not use the default. The default with LinkedIn is your job title and the company you work at. Now let's go back to telling the story about who you are, right? You are not your company. You are not where you work. You are not where you went to college. You are who you are, right? So don't limit yourself. Project manager at HP is not Zahir Punawala. Nope, that's not me. So take that out. Don't use that as default, but it doesn't help at all.
So Zahir, just to recap, the headline needs to be targeted words, keywords of the jobs we're looking for, correct?
Yeah, the job titles.
The job titles. Okay. Okay. And then, you have your credentials next to your name. If somebody doesn't have a credential, but they have an MBA, how recommended is it to put that there? Or how many credentials could you put there? If you could talk a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Make sure I'm not on mute. Great question. So credentials, when I joined LinkedIn, I always kind of felt like, oh, am I being braggy by putting MS's Master's in Science? Am I being braggy about it? But then you know what I realized? That if I don't speak up for myself, no one will, right? I have to be my own advocate. So knock yourself out, but here are some things to keep in mind. I have a bachelor's degree and I have a master's degree. My master's degree is higher than my bachelor's degree, so I don't need to say BS. If you don't have a master's degree, don't say BS. And the reason why is because everyone has a bachelor's degree, right? So keep that in mind. Don't put something that's common in there. You want to only put things like a master's degree, because now you're sort of limiting yourself. Again, not saying a bachelor's degree is not an achievement, just saying that a lot of people have it. And thus, and also if you're looking for a professional job, then pretty much everyone applying for those jobs already has it. So that's not going to help you stand out. Master's degree is PMP, right? That's a well-known certification in the industry. I have the CAPM and the PMP. The CAPM is the associate version of the PMP. So if I only had the CAPM and I was looking for project management roles, I would put it on there while I'm doing my job search, at least. And then once I got my PMP, I would take that out and I would put PMP in there. So what I'm getting to is you want to only put the highest. If you have multiple certifications, you want to pick the highest one or two. Don't put all of it there. Like you notice, Sunny, in my resume, I have a bunch of SAFE, a bunch of those. You want to stick to industry standard. When a recruiter is looking at your profile, the recruiter is not going to be too well versed in what you do, right? They recruit for the whole organization. So they're going to be familiar with PMP, but they may not be familiar with SAFE or Scrum Master certifications. So again, depending on what you're looking for. One last hint to keep in mind is as you look at job descriptions, think about what's required in those job descriptions. A lot of the jobs that I was applying for, PMP was required or it was highly recommended. So again, put it up front so the recruiters know you have it. My resume looks the same. In my resume, I have my name, comma, MS PMP. So recommending the same thing before the recruiter even goes down and tries to wonder whether you have the certification. If it's a common one, let them know right away so they don't have to look. I noticed in the chat, someone asked how important he or him is. It wasn't around when I was looking for a job. I just noticed people started putting it up, so I put it up. I don't think it would matter much. but you know,
Can I
if you
chime in
think
here?
you,
Zahir, can I chime in
yeah,
here?
yeah, please do.
Being in HR, the importance of the pronouns are that usually, like how we direct our employees, is that if you put it in, it just shows inclusivity and just that you're embracing DEI. So it is definitely an option, but there are a lot of companies that are pro DEI, and so they are looking for those. Again, it's an option, not necessary, but a good option.
Yeah, thank you, Asmin, for adding that. I stand corrected. So yes, put it on there. I'm glad I did. Any other questions? I'm not actively looking at the chat. That question just popped up. But are there any other questions in there regarding what we've covered so far?
Not on the chat. And
Yeah.
sorry, just want to do a little time check. We're at 9:30. So, if we could like hit the highlights and then kind of do a little demo of like folks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could you,
Okay,
sorry,
so
could you
yeah.
just talk about the open to? I don't think a lot of people know
Mhm.
that feature of LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. So unfortunately, LinkedIn deprioritizes users when recruiters are looking for you if you don't have an existing job. So I was laid off and I didn't have a job. So now my profile didn't show that I was currently employed. So whenever someone was looking for a project manager, I would not be on top. It's terrible, but it's just the way it is. So a couple of smart people, not me, came up with an idea. They were like, hey, what if we just create a dummy company called ONO? And ONO means open to new opportunities. That is the name of the company that people can then say they work there. And it's not deceiving because literally the name of a company is open to new opportunities. It's hard to think that that's a real company. So you're not trying to deceive a recruiter and tell them you're working. But at the same time, when they're looking for you or they're looking for project manager, you don't get dinged because you don't have a job. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind with ONO is you want the title to be what you're looking for. Again, LinkedIn uses your current job title to rank you when a recruiter is looking for you. So if I wanted to be an IT project manager, my title for ONO was IT project manager. And then in the description, I just put during my time since I was laid off, I did this. So I was taking certifications, I was doing this, I was doing that. If you don't want to do that, you can just put a short sentence stating that this is a placeholder and not a real company. You can phrase it how you want. But that ONO is pretty obvious to most recruiters, but not to job seekers. So keep that in mind if you're not currently working somewhere. Another question that comes up related to that is, hey, what if I just leave my old company as current? So I don't put that I'm, that I'm unemployed. The issue with that is you're also going to limit the people that reach out to you, right? So if someone in your network who you previously worked with, they're looking for a project manager, they see that you have a job and they see someone else doesn't have a job, they'll probably reach out to someone who doesn't have a job, right? So you want to utilize your network to find the job. You want your network to keep you in mind. And the way they do that, the way you can do that is by making sure that they know that you don't have a job right now, if you don't have a job right now. And one more thing that I'd like to quickly touch on is job description. Actually, two things. So job description, don't copy paste your resume description in here. You have much more room. There is no limit, so use it. And for example, over here, I start talking about after successfully playing a large part in implementing blah 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 blah. You don't see that on a resume, but again, my story, right? This has to be your story. This is your opportunity to tell your story. You can still have bullet points, but start off with something personal, make it more entertaining. One last thing I want to talk about is the about section. Now, this is your elevator speech, if you would. So what do you want recruiters to know? What do you want people to know about you as soon as they land on your page? This is your spill to them. Feel free to use these little characters. I forgot what they're called. Emojis. Feel free to use emojis, not smiley face and sad face, but these kind, like circles and stuff, instead of bullet points if you want to make it more entertaining. But again, your goal is to make sure that the user, whoever is looking at your profile, is engaged for long enough that they get to know you and they can figure out if you're a good fit for their company. Okay, there's much more information and many more things on the document that was shared. So I would definitely go through that literally step by step and make all those updates to your profile, and then you'll be ready to go. So let's jump into volunteers.
Sorry, Zara, I know there's one more feature where you can click on open to work, but it doesn't show it to your current network. So if you're in a company, but you're looking for opportunities, there's a way to not let your company people know that you're looking for other opportunities, right? Do you know that
Yeah.
feature?
Yep, absolutely. So again, when you're in your main profile, there's an icon called open to. When you click on that, okay, right here, find a new job. And now there's going to be a pop-up where you can add job titles, what sort of work you're looking for, and locations. What I find about locations is the broader, the better, especially because there's so many remote jobs out there nowadays, but it depends on what you're looking for. So if you have Texas, then don't bother putting like Houston, Texas. You can put, Texas, and then you can put California. So use that space because you only get to pick like 4 or 5. Same thing with the job title, be very picky. One trick that I've heard some people use is change the location every couple of days, and that kind of like refreshes the back end. I've never tried that before, but it's something people try. And then you can choose if you're immediately looking or you're just flexible and you're casually browsing. You can also put the kind of jobs you're open to, and this is what Sanya was referring to right down here, where it says choose who sees you're open. You can put all LinkedIn members, or you can put recruiters only. Now, let me spend just a minute talking about this really quick. Recruiters only would be the obvious choice if you're currently employed, unless you want to be unemployed pretty quickly. But let's say if you're not employed, or you're in school, or for whatever reason, you're okay telling the world you're looking for a job, I would do this. Now, the reason why is because this recruiters only is for those companies that have LinkedIn recruiters. And LinkedIn recruiters, I think someone told me, costs something like 10 grand a month or something ridiculous. It's really expensive to get LinkedIn recruiters. A lot of organizations only have like one for like 15 people and they share it. That's how expensive it is. I don't know exactly how much, but really expensive. So what I'm saying is, by doing this, you're not letting a lot of people find you, right? So if you are not employed, then don't fall under the stigma of being ashamed to use this, okay? This allows anybody to look for you, not just those people who have LinkedIn recruiters. A lot of small organizations don't have LinkedIn recruiter to use at all. So don't be ashamed of that. Use it. And thankfully, I think it's much more common now than it was back then when I was looking for a job. Did that answer your question, Sanya?
Yes, thank you.
Sure thing.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is the paid version of LinkedIn worth it?
Good question. It's one of those things that I would say if you want to try for like a month and you can get the free trial, check it out. When you apply for jobs, it'll tell you like, how much you match with the job and things of that nature. But I personally didn't think it was worth it. I got it for free for like 6 months. Something happened. I had a friend working on LinkedIn and they were doing this little promotion thing where, if you want, you can offer this to a friend of yours. A friend of mine reached out to me, so I had it for free. So it was nice using it, but I didn't pay for it afterwards. I just disconnected it right away.
And Shira, just to add to that, in my experience of like being between like contracts or jobs, I feel like it's a volumes game. You have to really put yourself out there and really apply to as many job descriptions as you can, just to get those hits. Another thing I want to really quickly share, which I've had a great success rate with, is reach out to your network. Like if you have like second connection or third connection, it's okay. If you're looking for a job in a specific company, like for example, my first job I was looking for in Capgemini, I went to that company page, looked at the people there, and randomly started like cold emailing them that, hey, I'm looking to get into Capgemini. Can I pick your brain on some interview tips? And you would be surprised at how many people actually help. A lot of these companies have referral programs where they actually get paid if they bring somebody in and you get hired. So it's like a win-win. So put yourself out there, reach out to folks. They will help out just like you would if somebody reaches out to you. So just go ahead and message folks and really tell them, hey, I just want to pick your brain, some interview tips, or if you could look at my LinkedIn profile and see if I'd be a good fit. Anything, whatever question you want to ask to get the conversation started.
That's a great point, Sanya. And the way you do that is go to your network and you search, and then you can type in the company that you're interested in, and it'll show you folks that are there. And this is first connection, so that's everyone that's in your network already. One more tip that I'd like to mention really quick. I'm not going to dive into this too much, but I know we talked about this briefly, Sanya, is ResiMatch.
Guys, please listen to this. You guys have to listen to this. Please. Like if you're multitasking, stop and listen to this.
And it's true. And the reason why I say it is not just because I want your attention, but it's because I applied. At first, I was applying to like literally tons of jobs, just boom, 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 boom. I'm like, why isn't anybody reaching out to me? Like, what is wrong with me? Nobody wants to talk to me. Turns out there's a system in the back end that your resume goes through. And if your resume doesn't pass a certain threshold, no one's gonna look at your resume, period. Now, here's the funny part. That little system, it uses keywords. And it has this tricks. So for example, if the job description is talking about project management and you have project manager and not project management, it won't think it's the same thing. It will ding you for that. Super weird. But that's why it's so hard when you look at a job description. It's really hard to kind of figure out what to do and not to do. So the best thing that I like to do was use this tool. I'm not going to do a demo just for the sake of time, but it's a free tool. You can go in there, you can play with it. You copy paste the job description. You copy paste your resume.
We can carve out time to do a quick demo for this. I think that's super important.
Okay, sounds good. So let's do it.
And again, for the audience, all the links are shared in the resources that we emailed. So, feel free to look at it at your own time.
Do you remember how to go to this, Sanya?
The ResiMatch.io, and then are you logged in?
No, I'm not. I think I may need to.
I think it's a resume scanner. Yeah, I think you're in the right spot.
There we go. Okay, cool. Yep. So resume scanner. There's a lot of tools out there that you can pay for. I don't think any of those are worth it. I literally didn't pay for any tools at all because there's so many available for free.
So the idea behind this tool is to see what the system is ranking you based on the keywords you have on your resume versus what's in the job description that the recruiters are looking at.
Hopefully you never do this. It's not the right way to look for a job, but I'm just looking for a job description really quick.
You can even find job description in LinkedIn as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Nope, nope. Just my job description. There we go. I know it's hard to look at, it's hard to read, but you don't have to read this, right? The system does. So I uploaded my resume, populated it right here, and I uploaded a job description.
It's just literally copy paste.
And now this is gonna be the surprising part. I bet you it's gonna be like 30, 40%, if that. And you'd be surprised when you start putting it in there. You're like, you think you're applying to a job, you're like, oh, my resume is all set. That's actually pretty decent for a shot. I got lucky over there. I used to get like 30%, I'm not kidding, 30%, 40%. So this system, if I was to send my resume just like this, the system would have scored me 57%. I can't remember my password. Hang on.
What's Zahra about to show you guys, once the password situation's figured out, is it actually tells you what the mismatches were and what keywords can you actually put in your resume to have a better match with the job description. So I don't recommend to do it for every single job you apply for, but for the ones that you really, really want, you have to do this. Yes, we'll be sending the recording. Oh, we'll make it available on the iFacebook page. And Zahra, if you're having trouble with it, don't worry about it. We can come back to it later.
There we go. I think we're in.
Okay.
Cool. So you do have to log in with, it's a free account. You can use your email, you can use your LinkedIn. I do apologize if you hear any snoring in the background. That's my dogs. So
As long as it's
57
not
out of
our
100.
audience.
What's that?
Said as long as it's not our audience.
I know, right? So thousands of resumes to look at, right? The system is going to churn out top to bottom. I'm going to be at the bottom of the pile. There's no way I'm getting a call for this job. So how can I improve this? Now, it ranks a few things, ATS best practices, and there's more descriptions over here. So file type. Okay, I'm using a PDF, and it tells me that's good because the ATS system, what I was referring to earlier, most of them recognize it. I have an email address on there, I have my phone number on there. Your resume appears to have a LinkedIn profile on it. Check. Goes through all these things for you. So that was good. I think that's why my score was high, because I have those things on my resume. Hard skills. Let's see what I don't have. In my resume, I say product 12 times, and the job description has it 4 times. Yeah, okay. The more, I'm not going to bother with that. But it has development 3 times and mine is 0 times. So what am I going to do? I'm going to add development to my resume. Now I will go here now. I'll figure out where development, software development experience. So then I will add something related to that. And a way to hack it is you could throw in like development or skills, or you could like sneak it in where you could say like worked with development teams. So you're not a developer, you're not doing development, but you work with development teams, right? To get you through this. Now that doesn't mean you're gonna get the job, but if a recruiter calls you, most of the time, they're not gonna not hire you because of one thing. So you may have an amazing personality, everything else may match, and it may be good, but this may ding you. So just to get through the system, you can sort of hack it in that sense. Add that word over there. Now, if I had it only one time, then it would give me -1, -2, sorry, because the description has it 3 times. It wants me to have it as many times as the description has it. Which kind of makes sense, right? Because if a job description says technology 30 times, then you should probably have something related to technology in your resume, or you shouldn't be applying. Facilitation skills, I bet you I have something about training in my resume, okay? Trained over 100 people, but it doesn't say facilitation skills. So I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna change training to use my facilitation skills. Again, notice I'm using that phrase, right? Not I facilitated, using that particular phrase so I don't get dinged for that. Soft skills, communication, collaboration. You would think that things like this would not be a requirement in a resume because you show it in your descriptions, right? By what you do and what you've done. But unfortunately, again, to get through the system, you gotta play this game. So what you could do is the skills area that you have, you can add a section in the skills area called like soft skills. You can dump this stuff in there. Communication, collaboration. Cliches and buzzwords. So this one is saying that I have some cliches and buzzwords on my resume, and that's things like on time. Now that's a cliche because it doesn't really, everyone uses it and doesn't really tell people much. It should be more like delivered 50% quicker, not delivered on time. But it also kind of looks at that as well. Any questions?
This was great, Zara. Thank you. I think we can squeeze in one demo of anyone in our audience who would like to have their LinkedIn profile audited by the expert. Any takers? This is a very good chance to really understand what you need to update in your profile. Zara's gonna do that for you. Shira, do you wanna?
Okay, so everything he said, don't do this, is on mine. No, literally, that's why I was laughing here half the time, because when he was like, don't use the default, and I was like, oh, oops.
Hey, that makes it a good example, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
yeah.
I've been showing it to the recruiters, right? So might as well. Okay.
So Shira, what's your last name?
Oh my God. I actually think you're not even going to find me because the don't do that where I had a private, I think. That's how bad this is. Yeah, it's Shira Ali. Unlikely that you'll find me there.
Here, why aren't you just gonna send me a quick invite and then I'll be able to see your profile?
Yeah, let's do that.
There's only like 3 of me on LinkedIn with that name, so.
Okay, let me just get you in there. Oh, your article should lead me to you.
While
Yeah,
Shira
yeah.
and
Okay.
Zahir are navigating that, any other questions that we can help answer? Has this been helpful? Is this the level of information you guys were looking at? Would you guys have wanted us to go more granular? Any feedback would be appreciated if a part 2 of this is needed to really deep dive into some of the items that we didn't get a chance to cover right now.
And just to add to that, if you don't want to speak up right now, no worries. You can always, send a DM to myself or Senia. We just need to know how else we can help you guys. Also, just a word of advice, it's a candidate's market out there. So if you're looking to make a job change, career change, this is the time to do it because there's more jobs than candidates available.
Perfect. Thank you, Yasmin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think they're gonna say when I'm here that we don't need any more of this. We don't want him back.
we've already gotten some direct messages asking for a part two. So Zahir will be bugging you, a lot more.
Sounds good. Happy to help.
And Shira, whatever Zahir says, please take it with a grain of salt. Okay.
Oh no, trust me. I need this. I was going to hire someone.
So, what's really interesting is I have talked to, old friends and old colleagues that actually hired someone and it didn't do anything for them. So again, like I say, there's a lot of paid stuff out there. I wouldn't bother with that. Just do it yourself, because it's your profile. This is going to be your personality, right? So you want it to come out the way you want it to come out, not the way someone else looks at it. All right. You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Hang on. Sorry, toddler just got back from Jamaat Khana. Okay. So starting from the top. Law. So that if I was just looking at your profile briefly, tells me that you are in some sort of a law field and that's where you want to stay. That's what you want to do. And then I go down here, profile picture, we talked about that. One additional hint about the profile picture is the more zoomed in, the more friendlier people seem. And there's like research done on this. So
Gotcha.
I know it's very tempting. Mine was really zoomed out too, trust me. I don't look at myself in the mirror for too long, but you know what? You got to put your best face forward. You have to be vulnerable. And that's one of the things that you have to do. Title, we talked about that. Good idea having this, as I think Azmin shared. This is your contact info. We talked about the profile, making it personalized. There's you can add websites here. Make sure that email address is up to date. Is the other thing. You'd be surprised how many people have outdated email addresses on LinkedIn.
I had never even clicked on contact info before you had just mentioned it. So
Yeah, I don't blame you.
that for
Most
the
people,
first time.
Yeah, most people haven't. All right, JD candidate at TSU. Okay, perfect. So I like the using I over here. Now that's important because you want this to be personalized. This is about you, right? So I, me, perfectly fine in the about section. This is not a cover letter, not your resume, right? This is personal. But a couple of things. You're not using the space you have. You have that real estate over there, and that's where you can use to tell others about where you're from. So for example, or what you want to do. Now, you want to tailor, like limit it to a sentence or two, but tailor towards what you're looking for. So let's say if you are looking for internships with in criminal law, okay, then I would talk about extremely passionate about criminal law internships ever since I saw the first episode of Criminal Law. Something like that that's personal and a little bit tacky, but yet professional. And then I would throw in there the things you've done so far. So actively involved in these organizations, and hopefully they will have law in them. The reason why I keep coming back to the keyword is because the more phrases you have on here that are related to your job title that you're looking for, the more likely recruiters will find you. So you're gonna make it personal. At the same time, you're gonna make sure you use those phrases, the job titles you're looking for. But you gotta sneak it in there, right? So they don't notice, they're still enjoying reading it, they don't realize it, but then LinkedIn knows it. So we're good. Activity. Now notice how the activity was like on top of your profile, right? It's not like hidden away. Like it was, as I scrolled through, it was right there. The reason why that's important is because if I'm a recruiter and I'm trying to figure out what kind of personality you have, what kind of person you are, if you participate a lot and your comments are more meaningful and I see those, that will tell me who you are, right? And it's gonna make you more personable. It's gonna make me wanna call you for the job and talk to you and learn more about you. So we'll talk about that another time, posting, commenting, and engaging. I wanna touch on that as well. Experience. So the good thing is you have a good amount of experience on here. Okay, now see, this is, it looks like you have a really good story that you could tell in your about section with all these positions that you have on here, right? All these things that you didn't just do them for the sake of doing them. It took hard work, right? It took sacrifice. So think back about what was important, why you did those, and make that a part of your about story. Again, the description, you want to use more space over here and talk more. So I'm not in law, so I don't know anything about it, but so think about things like, is honor court justice something that everybody has?
No,
If it's
I'm one of
not-
my school's judges. So I realized that I'm not, I just realized that no one would know that from that. It just
Exactly.
occurred to me right now.
Yep. See, there, you have another great thing to say. You have all these great things to say, but guess what? If I don't see them as a recruiter, and if I'm not impressed, I'm not going to call you, and you're never going to get to tell me those great things. That is really cool. See, that is super cool. And that's something I would even like maybe consider adding to like the headline. If you once you're done with like your titles, that shows who you are. That's what you do. That's where you put in your time. That's what you're passionate about. And talk a little bit more about it in the about section. I do this. I'm a judge. Spend X amount of hours because I'm passionate about this. This matters to me. This is what I'm fighting for. This is what I'm trying to do. Whether it's, criminal rights, or I want to make my life better, or I had a dream when I was a child. You have some passion inside of you that led you to get here. It's not easy to get into law school. It's not easy to do what you're doing, but guess what? No one is going to know that until you tell them that, which is exactly what LinkedIn is for. Getting a little too deep, huh? At the end of the day, it's all about human connection, right? So you're creating this so that you can connect with someone before they even talk to you. And if they can do that, if they can be impressed with you before they even pick up the phone, think about how much more opportunity you have to make it inside the organization, to make even a better impression when you actually talk to them on the phone.
I want to say another thing. It may be borderline stalking, but I've done that. Look at people's LinkedIn profiles, ones that are in a role that you want to be in. See what they've put on there, get inspiration from there. If there's this particular company you're applying for, go into that and look at the people there. It really helps kind of figure out what kind of culture it is and what kind of folks that they're hiring.
Yeah, so I've done that, been there, done that. It helps. It really does help. And it's interesting because, like, for example, if you were to search for, lawyers, then the top searches are usually the ones with decent profiles. So you can look at those and see what they have and what they don't have. Another thing to keep in mind on that note is while you're stalking them, feel free to send them an invitation and personalize it. In the article, there's a note of how to personalize it. Personalize it. Tell them, hey, it looks like we're in the same profession. I would love to connect and blah, 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 blah. Connect with them. One of the other things that LinkedIn uses to rate you when someone's looking for a job title is what sort of network you have. So size matters, okay? The bigger your network, but also the more relevant your network. So connect with other people that are in your same profession or close to that profession where you want to be. That way you can stalk them and you increase your LinkedIn profile ranking at the same time. 2-in-1.
There was a question on how do you do that without the other person knowing you're looking at their profile. They will know you looked at the profile. So like Zahir said, best way is to send a message of connection.
So Sanya, I'm gonna correct you on that one.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's actually a way to do it. So there's a setting. Somewhere. Okay, I'll find it after we're done with this call, and I'll send a link of how to change it to Sanya, and then she can share it with y'all. But there's a setting where you can choose where people know when you look at your profile, where people don't see it. So I had my phases. When I was doing this research that Sanya's referring to, I would go into, I don't want anyone to know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna go do this. But then when I actually want people to know I'm looking at their profile, like if I'm going to send them an invitation, I genuinely want to connect. I want them to know I'm looking at their profile. I want them to know that, right? So then I would turn it back on. So it depends on what you're trying to do.
Wow.
If you're
This
looking
is
at an
very
X,
cool.
you probably want to turn it off.
This is really cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Again, it's not commonly known.
Yeah. Everyone would have it turned off if they knew that.
I think there's another question on there.
Okay, I think it says, I've seen someone who has looked at my profile and it says private mode. It could be that.
Yeah, yep, that's exactly what it is. Yep,
Perfect.
they set it to private.
And sorry, Zahir, it's just want to do a time check. Can we wrap it up in a couple of minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm almost done here. So the same feedback would stay true for all the other descriptions, right? Tell a story. This is your time to tell a story. This is your passion that you want to show, why you did something. You have a lot on this, right? So you want to make it entertaining. It doesn't mean you can't have what you have over here, but it just means add to it. Just one quick thing that may not be relevant to you. Shira, am I saying your name correctly? Shira?
Yes, Shira.
Shira, okay. It may not be relevant to you because you're in the law field, but anything business related, finance, accounting, IT, you need numbers on your profile. So you want to show those numbers. I brought process improvements that helped decrease or increase efficiency by 230%. You want those upfront, boom, boom, boom. Again, you don't want to copy paste your resume, but those key things you want to add to this. In your case, Shira, it may be, or so for 35 cases in the span of this, and worked with 3 other judges, 3 other, county judges to collaborate and learn from them.
Zahir,
Blah, blah, blah.
I can
Again, numbers.
interject here. If you cannot quantify your experience, talk about the impact, right? So what? All right, you attended an in-depth training on merger and acquisition. So what? What was a result of that? Talk about the impact that really kind of drives home that story.
Good add over there. If you can do it, then do both.
Yep.
There's this, if you Google Amazon interview strategy, there's like a way they like you to answer questions. And that method has been key for me in any interview, Amazon or non-Amazon. The other thing I would like to mention is, just like your resume, there is no room for spelling errors. There is no room for grammatic errors. This is your presentation to the world, right? This shows how much time you're putting into it. Whether English is your first language, second language, third language, it doesn't matter. It has to be perfect on there. It doesn't mean it has to sound like, you know, a university paper, but just avoid those errors. Have someone else read it once or twice. You know, copy paste it into Word. Make sure there's no general mistakes that you can find. Use Grammarly. I love Grammarly. It will point out little things like comma, and it will also add smiley faces when you're saying something and it sounds friendly, or it'll add a frown when it doesn't sound friendly. Comes in handy when you're emailing your boss something. You don't want to sound not friendly. Let's go down to education. TSU, university, perfect. You have all of your education in here. You have your degrees in here as well. You have the years. I would just make sure that this is linked to that university. The reason why I asked that is because notice how there's no picture with it. So almost all schools and universities have a LinkedIn page. Okay, I guess they are not doing a very good job maintaining their page. Should do a better job. Like this, see, UHD is just adding a logo. Almost everyone has it. Now, skills and endorsements. This again is one other thing that comes in handy when recruiters are looking for you. If you have friends on LinkedIn or new connections, for example, let me give you an example, right? You have a big group over here. Now, utilize this group, utilize each other. So if you were to add each other and you send a personalized message, hey, Almada, I saw you in this thing. Look forward to chatting, look forward to seeing you again in the next event. If you don't mind, would you please endorse my top 3 skills, and I will do the same for you. Now, you're not gonna randomly ask anyone that, but people that are here, right? They kind of understand that everyone wants to boost their profile, so it helps everybody. They go in there, I'm gonna do it for you right now. And then you do the same thing for the person that added you, right? That's gonna help boost your profile. Use networks for easy things like that because it's really quick and it can help you get up there. I don't see certifications on here. That's something that you can add if it's relevant.
Where? Because I think I tried to, but that's on the bottom.
Yeah, so do you have certifications here though?
I do, like I have state certifications for as an investigator and also as a process server.
I see. Okay, so you added it into education.
And then some
So
software one too, but I don't know where it goes.
Okay, cool. So here's where it goes. When you, again, go to your main profile, add section, and you can do licenses and certifications. Mine is grayed out because I already have it on my profile, but yours will not be grayed out. So I would add it over there. In addition, you can leave it where it is too, but add it over here for sure. Because what this does is, creates its own little section. And now you can showcase all your certifications. The good thing is, if you add 100, it's still gonna only show like the top, like a couple on top. So it's not gonna like take up your entire profile. Obviously keep it relevant, right? Because the list does get long, but this is a good way to showcase it. A lot of certifications have an option where you can connect it to SkillJar. And so if you were to click on Verify SkillJar, it will show you that my certification is legitimate and I'm not lying about it. I really got it. Yay, see? Or you can add a link to your certification on there and stuff like that too. It's especially important when someone's looking for PMPs. Like I said, PMP is like an industry standard for project managers. So having it in certifications, if you have a PMP and you're looking for a project management role, is extremely important. And same here, right? See credential, and then you can add when it was issued and how long you've had it.
And
Different
with that,
organizations have different ways to work.
Zahir, I think we'll have to wrap up. We're 15 minutes over. But it's been great information. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Hope everybody got like actionable intel that they can take away and upgrade their profiles and hopefully find the opportunity they're looking for. Zahir, thank you so much. Please be on the lookout for a request for part 2. So we can try that for in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you for having me. And Sanya, I'll send you the link about how to do profiles privately in a little bit.
Absolutely. Yep. Thank you,
All right,
everybody.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.